Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is one of my favorite things to do, is to podcast and talk to you and tell you about the amazing things in this world.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That you may not know about, or you do. Hey, let's talk to you. How you been? Is this Christmas time causing you to be blue? 'Cause you have to get all these gifts and people are yelling at you and making you miffed. And you're just like, why? Why is this season still
Mike's Daily Podcast
happening? Why can't it just be done? Well, let me tell you, the fun thing about Christmas is when it's done, it's done.
Mike's
People just
Daily
roll up the sidewalks,
Podcast.
put everything away, no more lights.
Yeah!
It is gone. It is like everything's swept up and gone. That's the one thing that I don't quite like about Christmas, because I kind of like it. Everybody gets into a festive mood. The lights look cool. The people are awful at the malls. I understand, just avoid malls altogether, because you get so depressed with all the craziness and the cacophony and the chaos. But the cool lights people put up at their houses, I like that. And going for a nice walk in the dark, and it's brisk and cold, and you're walking your dog, and in my case, my dog, I have to lift his back end because he can't lift his back end, so he handles the front end, I carry the back end, and that's hard work. Whew. The other night, Thursday night, I think I overdid it a bit. So here's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that you should go out and enjoy the festivities, the festiveness, the music, the Christmas caroling, the nutcrackers. Still the funniest name ever. And then that's good, but because it goes, it's all gone so fast. It's like it was a dream. You wake up and it's all over. Christmas, once it's done, some people leave their lights up all year round. They're called redneck women. Gretchen Peters. That's right.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Or was it Gretchen Wilson? I always get those two women mixed up. They're nothing like each other. Anywho, the podcast picture today is of this guy. Oh, Mike, it's me, John Deere, the engineer, and I love the Christmas time. Mm-hmm. I bet you do some pretty elaborate electric front yard Christmas displays, huh? That's right, Mike Matthews. Are you going to play that song again this year? No. Your front yard Christmas display made my horrible Christmas day. I had a song. It's somewhere. If you go back to one of the shows around Christmas time at MikesDailyPodcast.com, you will find it. But I'm not going to play it today because I'm busy. I got stuff to do. And John Deere, the engineer, is in the picture, and so is this guy right here. Basil, the boxer Basil. Yes, it's a good picture of you. You don't like it? Oh. Okay. But I did the drawing, Basil. Didn't you like the drawing? Okay, he said it's all right. So yeah, when Christmas is done, it's done. Everything gets put away. It's all packed back in the attic. It's gone. And I haven't even put really out the decorations yet. That's how pathetic I am. They're sitting in boxes in my living room, ready to be put up, and I still have, maybe I'll do it tonight. I still have not put it all up. Hey, I talked to someone last night who listens to Mike's Daily Podcast, and what I didn't realize is she listens to the podcast because she says she gets news about Podcastro Valley through it, which I guess I give some Podcastro Valley news. Let's see, what's the latest Podcastro Valley news I can give you? That thing that used to be the Daughtry building, they're working on that. That's almost done. That's taken, 8 years? The Christmas tree that used to be in the Castro Village is no longer in that little median area, that little island, that little place that was in the middle of the parking lot, just sort of cars would have to drive around it and avoid it. That's all gone. And now they've moved the tree to another place in the Castro Village, which this really means nothing to anybody who doesn't live in the Podcastro Valley area. But there you go. I was at the Doolittle last night, name dropping Podcastro Valley places, with my lovely lady friend and these two friends of mine, one of whom has been on the podcast years ago, and his wife. And we were talking, well, trying to talk, and it was like, okay, so the people that you hear here at Cafe Anyway, they're having a good time, but they're not too loud. They're talking, they're having their chitter-chatter in the background. It's nice. The place we were at, the Doolittle, was so loud, and there wasn't even music playing. They didn't even have the radio on they used to have a turntable there. That was cool. They had a turntable and someone would bring records and you could listen to old vinyl. That was fun. They don't do that anymore. I was a little let down by the Doolittle, I must say. A little let down by the Doolittle. It is a cool name though, isn't it? Like Dr. Doolittle. And there's a street called Doolittle in the East Bay, which I have an interesting story about Doolittle that goes close to the bay. It parallels the bay, the shoreline of the bay. But okay, so I think Llewellyn intersects Doolittle. When I moved to the Bay Area from Alabama, we had rented somebody, a guy, we got somebody to bring the car out in one of those big car mover trucks. And they move a bunch of cars. They got it all on this big rack thing. And this guy drove all the way up from Arab, Alabama. Okay, it looks like it's spelled Arab, but they say Arab. And how it came to be known as Arab, I don't know. That's a whole other story I should dive into at some point. But so this guy with the thickest Alabama accent, he keeps calling me, and I was married then, so my ex-wife, he was calling her and trying to coordinate where we were so he could drop by. He didn't know where he was in the Bay Area. He's completely lost. There's all these blue state people driving around that are freaking him out. No, I don't know if that was true, but he was just freaked out. This is the city, you know. It's even though the East Bay is really a city. It's one big huge city of suburbs and buildings, and so he's getting lost. Finally, on Llewellyn, we are able to coordinate with him where he's going to drop it off. He goes, "I'm just going to stop right here and drop off your car." He dropped off the car right in the middle of the road. He stopped, in that one lane in the middle of those big streets. So you got traffic going both directions on either side. He stopped in the middle and dropped off my car, the one that can't pass smog now. That's another great story. I'm just going to tell these sad stories about my car because I'm probably going to have to sell it because it won't pass smog. Damn you, California. Why won't you let my car pass smog so I can keep it? Isn't this a great voice? When you're sad, your sad voice. Hey kids, don't say the word damn unless you're talking about beavers. Hey kids, if you're talking about beavers, make sure you're talking about the animal. Hey kids, I got a bunch of other great tips that I'll give you because YouTube now says, hey, is your show that you're up or whatever you're uploading your video to YouTube, is it kid friendly? If it's not, put it over here. And I'm like, well, no, I don't think I should be put over there. I mean, I don't cuss on my show. So kids, don't cuss, except I said the word beaver dam, I think, on today's show. At any rate, that guy dropped off the car and we never heard from him again, and thank you for that because he was a wee bit annoying. Also annoying are people whom I work with who do not take care of business, that pass the buck. All they got to do is make a phone call. Just pick up the phone and call someone. That's all. I don't know if people understand that even though I am an operations manager, I have to have a life on the weekend. I have to be able to sleep in one of the days of the weekend. Because otherwise, you ain't going to get helpful Mike, the operations manager. You're going to get dead Mike. You're going to get Mike who ain't helpful. And then they're going to have to put some other operations manager in there, and he's going to be a mean dummy. He's not going to be a nice guy to you. He's not going to be Mr. Friendly Mike Matthews guy. He going to be a dummy. And he ain't going to be good. So just work with me here. Pick up the phone. Call the engineer. Troubleshoot. Do a little troubleshooting. I swear, people today are so involved with their phones and so involved with going and clicking on all these stupid social media websites, which, by the way, you can listen to this podcast through a bunch of different social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike Talks. Facebook at Mike Talks is my handle. Facebook.com/Mike Talks or Facebook.com/MikesDailyPodcast. And what's that other social media? Instagram, Mike's Daily Podcast. You can find me there. Okay, and all the other places you can find at MikesDailyPodcast.com. But come on, passing the buck is not cool. I don't mean to get all Truman on you, because Truman did basically steal the presidency, according to Oliver Stone. There was another vice president that FDR had for 3 terms before before Truman got put in there through some kind of strange backroom dealing with the Democrat Party back in that time period. And then Henry Wallace lost out, and he would have been a very progressive president like FDR. But instead we got Truman, who was a bit of a racist, turns out. Whew. Okay, so but he did say Truman said the buck stops here. And so you have to take the bull by the horns and quit diddling around. I don't know what the verb diddling means, but it sounds like exactly what I think I intend it to mean. You're diddling. You're not taking care of business, you're diddling. So stop looking at the social media and get work done. What is it? I know you work with people that are like this. I know you know someone who just procrastinates and doesn't live in the real world because they're so caught up in this escapist world of their frickin' phones. Kids, don't say frickin'. Say freaking. It's a little bit less, blue. They're so wrapped up in their little apps and their social media and their Instagrams, and we talked about last show about how people who aren't posting to Instagram, who used to be posting a lot, there's something going on, and you should worry and you should call them. And anywho, just they get their heads in the clouds. Gotta get back on the ground, and you're getting paid. Do the job. Do the troubleshooting you need to do. I don't get this. Okay. Another thing I don't get. I'm one of these people that people love to talk to. And another coworker I have, great guy. But oh my gosh, does he talk. And I basically should have stopped him today and said, hey, all this you're saying needs to go into a podcast. Because he always tells me, Mike, you need to put this on Mike's Daily Podcast. You need to talk about this because you talk about whatever on Mike's Daily Podcast. So you should be talking about this stuff. And then he's just over the moon that I podcast and that I've been podcasting for 10 years. And you can verify that by going to my Podomatic account. Even though I have never, if every single episode that I have ever posted to Podomatic was still on Podomatic, I would probably owe Podomatic about $5,000 a month with all the server space I'd be taking up. But you can catch just about all my episodes, FMF episodes at MikesDailyPodcast.com. And I've got all my episodes saved on a server somewhere. So if I don't have it up on the website, I can get it back up there. Sorry, that's just how it is when you do it all by yourself, everybody. When you do it DIY and piecemealing it all together, making it work. But you're listening to this podcast, and that's the most important one, FF episode 1959, 1959, and we're outside a cafe anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley Ton today, the last place on earth. Thank you for being here, and thank you for understanding that Mike sometimes needs people to shut up and to let him do his stuff that he needs to do. People talk my ear off. Oh my. Do they love to? I've got one of those faces. My lovely lady friend's the same way. I told you the story about how we were on my Santa Cruz vacation for my birthday. And I'm walking Basil down the street, and I'm carrying him by his back legs with the harness. And he's moving along with his front legs just fine, but he's 11 years old. So that's the situation. And this guy pulls over and talks my lovely lady friend's ear off about how, this just breaks my heart to see this. Here, let me show you this contraption that they sell that would help your dog a lot. And he's flipping through all these pictures on his stupid iPhone, his little tiny iPhone that looked like a teeny weeny little thing in his huge hands. He had these big friggin' bare hands, and he's holding this teeny tiny phone, and he's flipping through, and it's like, dude, just get back in your SUV, drive up to your bear lair, and leave us alone. We got to get over to Capitola, catch the sunset. So there you go. A little bit of, by the way, Darrin E Burroughs was the guy who played Ed Chigliak on Northern Exposure. Ed. And it was a great character. Darrin E Burroughs also showed up in X-Files. He was a bank robber who blows himself up and kills Mulder and Scully several times. And they have this sort of a, what do they call that? Groundhog Day. And then Tom Cruise had his own version with Emily Blunt. And so it keeps happening over and over again, and they finally break the cycle, whatever they're in. I hate those. So Groundhog's Day was a great movie, but I don't, for the most part, like these loopy, these things that keep happening. You see the same stuff happen over and over again. Some people love those type of movies, but not so much me. But Darrin E Burroughs, I thought I had heard for a moment that he had passed, but he's still alive, thankfully. I'm like, he's too young to pass away. Ed Chigliak. Watch Northern Exposure. As far as I know, they never did a stupid loopy-loop episode. What are, by the way, the best Christmas movies? I would have to point out, we were discussing this last night with my friends, the movie Groundhog Day. Oh, wait, whoops. I just said that's not a Christmas movie. Is it a Christmas? No, it's got all the snow. No, it happens around Groundhog's Day. Groundhog Day. Or is it Groundhog's Day? Because the groundhogs own it. Or is there more than one groundhog, so it's therefore Groundhog's Day? No. Back to Christmas. No, Bill Murray's known for a Christmas movie he did eons ago called Scrooged. That's not at the top of the list for best Christmas movies in my world, although I did see it. And I did see it when it came out in the theaters. And I laughed. Buster Poindexter's in that. Bobcat Goldthwait's in that. Robert Mitchum's in that movie. And Carol Kane, who later showed up in The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And, of course, she was in Taxi, played Lotka's wife. Was it Binka? Or something like that. She was Andy Kaufman's wife in Taxi. No, I'm thinking of The Family Stone. People either love that movie or hate that movie. And I'm always surprised by the people that love that movie. I go, wait, what? You like that movie? Or, you hate that movie? Family Stone has Rachel McAdams, Craig T. Nelson, not Deborah Winger, Diane Keaton, Sarah Jessica Parker, Luke Wilson, Dermot Mulroney, or is it Mulroney-Dermot? One of those two. And then there's the guy from the movie with Ryan Reynolds where he's in love with a mannequin. He's from that movie, but I forget his that. Anywho. So there's, and Claire Danes. So that's a great Christmas movie. Love Actually is a wonderful Christmas movie. That starred the guy that would later be in The Walking Dead. And who else is in that? Oh, yes. Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson's in that movie. You ought to believe in Christmas. Christmas is the best thing ever. No, that's not what he said. He's very Christmassy. Oh, he's in love with Claudia Schiffer. That's right. He ends up with Claudia Schiffer at the end of Love Actually. That's a pretty good Christmas movie. What's your favorite Christmas movie? I'd sure love to hear from you. 336MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast has been for the past couple of days, and now we are quickly approaching Christmas. And for those of you who would like to see some beautiful holiday lights before they are all gone, I'm going to give you 4 addresses. This is okay because these addresses were posted by the Danville Instagram account for the city of Danville, so they endorse these places. 361 Love Lane, 1441 Harlan Drive, 253 Tunbridge Road, and 340 Del Amigo Road. If you need all those, again, go to the Instagram website, Instagram page for Danville, the city of Danville. Those 4 houses apparently are the top for the most decorated, beautiful. Yeah, Danvillica is the name of the account on Instagram. Danvillica. Because Danville is a beautiful Christmassy place, in my opinion. They got their nice big oak tree that they light every year. Their Christmas lights, famous old oak tree. You can tie a yellow ribbon around that old oak tree if you would like. Now, really quickly, the big news today, Donald Trump apparently respects Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii because she voted present instead of yes for his impeachment, and she is a Democrat running for president. And he said, he was speaking to a high school and college student convention at Turning Point USA conference. He discussed Tulsi's part in the vote this past Wednesday. He says, I give her respect because she didn't vote the other day because she knew it was wrong. And that's basically the story. Tulsi is also a surfer. And I remember a few months ago driving on, is it Highway 80? And don't say, as we know from the last show, don't say the 80, because they will hate you here in Northern California, because they'll be like, you're all Southern California-ish. Get out of here. So Highway 80, if you're driving along there, right around Berkeley, there were a bunch of people with signs saying, vote for Tulsi Gabbard for 2020. And now there's Trump almost endorsing her in a way. So the box office is down in 2019 despite the rise of Skywalker. But that's not what's worrying theaters the most. Apparently, let's see. It grossed an estimated $176 million, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, in domestic ticket sales from Thursday through Sunday. So apparently, North American cinema owners are concerned. They have a increasing concern about the vast delta between the haves and have-nots at the box office and the lack of middle ground between the two. This year, Avengers Endgame became the highest-grossing global title ever, and that's not adjusting for inflation, as well as Disney's Lion King and Frozen 2, but it was also a year of historic flops. Playmobil, the movie, for example, grossed just a little over $500,000 in the U.S. and Canada in its opening weekend. Meanwhile, the Warner Brothers adaptation of The Goldfinch collected a mere $5 million domestically. Every year has its share of clunkers, but the theatrical market is becoming a business that's dominated by intellectual property-powered blockbusters at the expense of almost everything else, including the mid-level films that used to keep theaters humming year-round. So what they're saying is it's only like there's all these lean months and then big blockbuster months. A huge chunk of total sales went to a handful of titles. The top 10 films at the domestic box office have accounted for about a third of the ticket sales so far this year. There's a pretty diverse content slate, but sometimes the big movies do suck the life out of the room. Oh, what a problem to have, huh? I hate movies. Oh, Cats struggled because of harsh reviews. And did you hear today that they've recut some scenes and added some more effects to make the cats look more cat-like, and they re-released it. let's see. Many critics were unnerved by the digital fur technology used to turn performers, including Taylor Swift and Judi Dench, into CGI cat-human hybrids. If a movie is seen as bad on social media before it opens, it's difficult, if not impossible, to recover. This, according to LA Times. Los Angeles Times. Okay, that's the end of the show. Oh, we didn't say hi out to these people here at Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Eaton, the last place on earth. You can tell me what you think about all this at 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast is. Or is trying to be. And Hillary Duff got married. Woohoo. Look who's here. Hello, Michael Masters, Madame Rootabega. I want to wish everyone a happy Merry Christmas and happy Yuletide season. Oh, do you like the movie Love Actually? Yes. How about Family Stone? Yes. Do you like Scrooged with Bill Murray? No. Yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and good luck finding presents for the people that you love.
Yeah, you better get the presents soon. Do you know that? Yes, that's right. We only have a few days. Practically a few hours left, huh? So we'll let you get to it then. Thank you for listening to the show. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer. Merry Christmas.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.